We are studying from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, verse number 20. So far, we have seen Narad Muni is diagnosing the problem of Vyasdev and recommending him that you should please glorify Bhagwan and Bhakti. Yeah, you might have presented the Purusharthas, Dharma and Karma with good intentions, but people are only going to accept that and not rise to the progressive stages. Why? Because they are Swabhava Raktasya. They are already conditioned for sense enjoyment. Therefore, what was required was not giving them something that's prohibited in their diseased condition, but something that is purifying. And what is purifying? Bhakti alone is purifying. And we also discussed Tattva Swadharmam. Do you remember? That giving up karma and taking to bhakti, even if that bhakti is apakwa, bhajan apakwa, it's immature, it's incomplete. One is not able to complete it, one may fall down before completing it. So, what did we discuss? Is it appropriate to give up karma to start practicing bhakti? Or will it have a sinful reaction, or will it be a fault to give up karma if we have to practice bhakti? What do you remember? Yes, please try. Can we give up karma to practice bhakti, or is that a fault? Okay.
Still not 100% clear. I'm still having doubts on that.
Yes, that's why I'm
Hare Krishna.
asking what's your current understanding, and we'll clarify it from there.
My understanding is, I mean, although you said you can give up karma at a point and take up bhakti, you won't be at
Right,
fault. But I'm
correct.
still not 100% clear
Great.
because
Okay, that is,
we we are
yeah.
we are not in that position to give up karma and take up bhakti totally.
Mm.
So
Right.
is this being told for the pure devotees or is it being told for us?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have that, doubt. Is pure bhakti being recommended? So, yes, definitely pure bhakti is recommended here. But you remember we saw the reason why we can give up karma. So we'll discuss it again to properly understand the qualification of practicing bhakti. So the premise is, the starting point is that Vyasdev has given karma and dharma for people to follow. And Vyasdev has given it with the intention that if they practice, they will purify themselves and then go on to the higher progressive stages and then evolve spiritually. But Narad Muni is saying, because they are conditioned, they already have a bodily conception of life. They have taste for sense enjoyment. So they'll only accept the concessions, they will not take the recommendations. So the main thing, please hear this carefully. The main reason that we need karma for, what do you think we need karma for? Before we can answer that, is it appropriate to give up karma to practice bhakti? Let us ask the more fundamental question, why do we need karma? Any guesses? We have discussed this in the first three chapters also.
The prescribed karma is meant for purification.
Amazing. Thank you. So we are definitely, when we talk of karma, we are not talking of sakam karma, means karma for selfish desire. That's driven by lust and greed. That's not the subject matter of scriptures. That's materialism. When we talk of karma, when Shastras talk of karma, they're talking of regulated karma or nishkama karma yoga. Nishkam karma yoga means you do your karma, but without the identity of being the doer, no ego, without attachment to the fruits of your action, no greed. So when you perform your action without ego, without greed, people might question why should I even do it then? If there is no gain, no ego, why do you even do it? That's the entire reason. You don't do it for material gain, you do it for samshuddhi. Sattva samshuddhi, you do it for self purification. Okay, so Nishkama Karma Yoga we have discussed helps purify the chitta, mind and heart, of all anarthas and abhadras. So now, if that is the function of karma or Nishkama Karma Yoga to purify the heart, where is it valuable? Hmm. Where is a method which purifies the heart required? We have two options: jnana on one hand and bhakti on the other hand. So we discussed last time that what is the qualification to practice jnana? Who remembers? There is a prerequisite. We need to have a certain qualification before we can practice jnana. What is that?
Purification of heart.
Yes, very good. So jnana as a starting point, before you can even start practicing jnana, you require purification of heart. So this is theorem
Jnana.
number one. Jnana requires purification of heart to begin with. Second theorem, Nishkama Karma Yoga purifies the heart. Third theorem, Bhakti. What is the qualification to start practicing Bhakti?
Shraddha.
Shraddha. You don't require any purification. You just need to have Drida Shraddha in Shuddha Bhakti. See, anything we do requires faith. Even to take a flight, you need to have faith in the pilot that they are trained, they'll fly us safely. So even jnana requires shraddha in the jnana process, and bhakti requires drida shraddha in bhakti process. So both cases shraddha is required. That goes without saying. In addition to that, jnana requires purification, whereas bhakti does not require purification. Now with these three axioms or theorems, Nishkama Karma Yoga purifies the heart. Jnana requires purification of heart as an entry point. Bhakti has no requirement for purification. So if you put these three together, what can you conclude? Go on, try. To
That
practice,
bhakti is a purifying process.
yes, and therefore, bhakti itself is a purifying process. It doesn't require purification to start with. Therefore, you don't need karma. Therefore, if you have Drida Shraddha for bhakti, you can give up karma. Is it clear? It's very simple. I know we are not making a sentimental claim, we are giving a proper philosophical basis. So, last time we saw jnana requires inner purification, bhakti doesn't depend on any purification. Bhakti itself is potent because it is Krishna's Swarupa Shakti only. So, therefore, Sri Krishna dares to claim towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Why? Because he knows the previous recommendations of Varnashram, Nishkama Karma, they are all preliminary. But if you are ready for Sharanagati and Dhrida Shraddha, you can give up those dharma and karma. Because we have the purifying potent process of bhakti, we don't require karma, Nishkama Karma. Yeah, this we saw also comes in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th chapter, 32nd verse. That one who takes shelter in me alone, Krishna says, one renounces ordinary religious duties and worships me alone. And such a person is considered to be the best among all living entities. And we also saw the verse, Devarshi Bhutaptanranam, that yes, we do have obligations, but once we surrender to Mukunda, all those obligations are automatically resolved in surrendering to Mukunda, because now we are watering the root of the tree. So therefore, even in the beginning stages of bhakti, okay, for which is applicable for us, even in the beginning stage of bhakti, practice of karma is forbidden. That is why the whole verse is presented by Narad Muni, Tyaktva swadharma charanam bhujam hare bhajan apakvo atapate tatho yadi. Even if they fall down, there is no loss, because they began bhakti and the bhakti vasanas will remain with them forever. And they'll sometime pick it up again. That is an eternal gain. On the contrary, if you practice your dharma, karma, varnashram perfectly, but don't reach devotion and surrender to Bhagavan, what did you gain? All your gain was temporary and material. There is no eternal gain. Whereas even partial practice of bhakti gives you permanent bhakti vasanas. So which is better? That is the rhetorical question Narad Muni is asking. So even for us, karma is forbidden. That will make our bhakti Mishra Bhakti. And Mishra Bhakti does not give the same results as Shuddha Bhakti. So, Bhakti Vasanas are the highlight of this verse. They are so powerful, eternal impressions that they can override they can completely remove our Papa Phala, Papa Vritti, and Papa Bija. The reaction to sin, the proclivity to do new sinful action, and the seed of sin, which is avidya. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana. Agam dhunvanti kartsne niharam iva bhaskara. Like when the sun rises, there can be no fog. That is the surety with which bhakti purifies us. So one doesn't need to go back to karma. There is no fault, there is no misfortune, there is no fear. Yeah, so Sri Krishna says himself in the Bhagavad Gita, we discussed this, 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 29th chapter, 20th verse, that even starting this process of bhakti and not completing it, there is no destruction of the results. Anashi shaha. So why would we not take a process that is guaranteeing eternal gain, even if we are not able to complete it? That is the rhetoric, that is the exclamation with which Narad Muni is saying this. On the contrary, what is gain from performing all of one's karma? Yeah, we do our swadharma perfectly, but you are still a non-devotee, abhajatam. It will not lead to anything permanent. So to conclude, to practice jnana, we require purification of heart. Jnana itself cannot purify your heart. Therefore, there is a dependency on karma, nishkama karma yoga. But bhakti has the power to purify. Therefore, it has no dependency on karma. Therefore, we only require dhrida shraddha. So that's what Narad Muni is telling Vyasdev. Boldly declare to the world that bhakti alone is sufficient. People can take up to the process of bhakti, giving up karma, giving up their varnashram and swadharma. Okay? But if you want to practice jnana, you are not allowed to give up your karma. First, you are required to practice Nishkama Karma, purify your heart, and then begin Gyan. Because Gyan itself does not have the power to purify you. Yeah. So that's the recommendation, that this process is perfect. Even if somebody is unable to continue it, there is no loss. Why is there no loss? We saw in the next verse. Rasa graha. Once you practice, you experience rasa of a different level. Yeah. Practice of bhakti gives you an experience which is of a much higher quality. So even incomplete bhakti is protected because a devotee experiences a superior rasa. Our devotee experiences shelter of Bhagwan, sweetness of Bhagwan, and a sense of belonging to Bhagwan. So just the memory of that shelter, sweetness, and belonging, and then having gone away from it, that itself will produce repentance, and then one will return to it automatically. Yeah, so rasa graha means somebody who's possessed by rasa, the rasa of bhakti. That is the power. So, this is not just, we are
Prabhu,
saying that, yeah,
so Prabhu, is Arjuna aligning himself to the will of Krishna and
mm,
fighting the battle? Is that giving up karma and doing bhakti?
exactly. Very good point. So, Sri Krishna builds up the basis for Arjun to move from inaction first to duty and then to surrender. So, towards the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is actually not doing his Swadharma. He is doing bhakti. He is fighting as an expression of his pure devotion. He has realized that I am a part and parcel of Krishna, and my only goal and duty in life is to serve the whole. That service I'm doing through fighting. If Krishna is pleased by me studying, I'll study. So Arjun has gone beyond Varnashram. Yad ichchasi tatha kuru. Krishna tells Arjun, okay, you can choose. I'm not imposing anything on you. But still, Arjun then says, I have understood everything by deliberation. I will fight. Karishye vachanam tava. So the spirit in which Arjuna is fighting is not that of karma, but in the spirit of bhakti. Yeah. After the beautiful section of bhakti in the middle of Bhagavad Gita, Arjun accepts, yes, you are Bhagwan, Parabrahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. So Krishna is now surrendering to Krishna as Bhagwan, and he's serving serving as a warrior completely in bhakti. So yes, his fighting is devotional service and not karma. Yeah. And it inspires and applies to all of us as well. We can also do our work in this world, but are we doing it out of love for Krishna? Or are we doing it as a matter of, okay, I'll do what is of my nature and then offer it to Krishna? That becomes karma. First, trying to understand what is Krishna like and then doing that. That is bhakti. In both cases, you will do some karma. But are you doing it out of your svabhava or are you doing it out of your swarupa and Krishna's desire? That changes the whole flavor. Okay. So we are discussing that the rasagraha, once we start practicing bhakti with full faith, that taste will completely protect us. In that case, what is the mood of a devotee in practicing bhakti? Not that they want something from bhakti. They don't want to escape samsara. That's moksha. Liberation means those who desire liberation wish to escape samsara, but a devotee is not in that spirit. They are not trying to escape samsara. They are not seeking any material status, power. What's their goal? The Lord Himself. Krishna, I want you. That is the. So whenever we might get separated from the practice, we should revisit the moments when we were serving, we were participating in kirtan, pilgrimage, in devotee sangha. How is it? It was so sweet and enlivening. Yeah, and it made our heart full of joy. We cannot get that experience in a world where everyone is competing with each other. So just the memory of those good times, that rasa, will help us re-enter the practice. That is the point of rasagrahana. Yeah. Mhm. Right. So we should not, verse 18 says, aim for something that's not obtainable by moving up and down in samsara, which is bhakti and eternal shelter. And then in verse 19, we saw that a person who serves Mukunda, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, etc., because they are rasagraha. A person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. Okay, so we continue from here that a devotee, once having started the practice, will not experience samsara in the same way as a karmi does, because they have heightened awareness and higher relish. So, what did we say? Once you come in the category of bhakta, your experience of sukha and dukkha is not from karma. Your experience of sukha and dukkha is by the direction of the Lord. It is Krishna who's controlling the good or bad fortune of his devotees. Yeah. So we also discussed that. One, Krishna may take away things if he feels that those material objects are unfavorable for our practice. So that's his way of making us experience happiness or distress. But in either case, it is under the direct jurisdiction of Bhagwan, not by the law of karma. Isn't that better? To be under the direct attention of the Lord, even if we experience fortune or misfortune. Even that misfortune is indicating that Lord has our back. He is interested in us. He's affectionate to us. He's doing it for a reason. That is the spirit in which devotees look at their misfortune, apparent misfortune. Okay, so let's move ahead. So after glorifying the path of bhakti, now Narad Muni is changing the subject. He is now glorifying the object of bhakti, the object of worship, which is Bhagavan. So now we go back to theology, qualities of Bhagavan. Verse 20. Idam hi vishwam Bhagavan ivetaro yato jagatsthana nirodha sambhavaha तद्धि स्वयं वेद भवांस्तथापि ते प्रादेशमात्रं भवतः प्रदर्शितम्. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Himself this cosmos, and still He is aloof from it. From Him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated. In Him it rests, and unto Him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this. I have given only a synopsis. So we have discussed this in the first 3 chapters, that now Narad Muni is teaching the knowledge of Bhagavan. Because, okay, I'm convinced bhakti is the best. But how do I practice bhakti? I need to have knowledge of Bhagavan. So here Narad Muni is beginning to teach us about the nature of Bhagwan. So we are seeing that the universe comes from the Lord, is maintained by the Lord, and goes back to the Lord, that is Mahavishnu. Yeah, Karanodakshaya Vishnu. So in that sense, the universe is dependent on the Lord. So what we are going to see in this verse is that the universe is like the Lord in some ways. Yeah, in this purport, you will see that the Lord has transcendental form of eternity, cognition, and beauty. This is Satchidananda Ghana, Swarupa. Thus, the creation of the energy of the Lord. What is the creation of the energy of the Lord? This universe, this material universe. That also appears to be partially Satchidanand also. So, if Bhagavan is Satchidanand, what is created by his divine energy will also have some attributes of that nature. So in Bhagwan, the Satchidanand feature is complete and perfect. In the universe, in the material universe, it is partial. So because it is partial, instead of seeing the divinity in the universe, we are captivated by the glitter of Maya. Yeah, under the influence of external energy, we are entrapped in samsara. So there are two options the soul has: perceive the divinity in the universe, and then utilize the universe to worship its source or Bhagwan. That's seva. The other perspective is that the universe is devoid of any divinity. The universe is for my enjoyment. That's the path of Bhog. So because we are so, enamored by Maya, the glitter and distraction of Maya, that we fail to see the divinity in the universe. Even though the universe is like the Lord, Eva. Yeah. Because we are under the spell of Maya, we fail to see the divinity in the universe. We make it mundane and we want to lord it over Prakriti. That's Ishwari Bhav. So Dasya Bhav requires appreciating the divinity in the universe. Dasya and Ishwari Bhav. Ishwari Bhav requires the removal of the creator from the picture. And you expressing your sovereignty, control, and exploitation of the universe. That's as simple as that. Yeah, to accept this as all in all, and they accept that this material universe is everything. This Jud universe is everything, and I can exploit it, I can enjoy it. Why? Because they have no information of the Lord, who is the primeval cause. Do you remember we discussed this? Lord is both the Upadan Karana and the Nimitta Karana. So the potter is the cause and the pot is the effect. So Bhagwan is the cause, and what is the effect? Prakriti. This material universe is the effect. This is how they are different. Creator and creation are different because one is a cause and other is the effect. But they are also same in some ways. How are they same? Shakti, Shaktiman, Abheda. Bhagwan is Satchidanand. This material world is also partially Satchidanand. The only difference between Bhagwan and Prakriti is Prakriti also has some feature of Satchidanand. That's what we are seeing in this purport. The only difference between Bhagwan and Prakriti is that Prakriti is temporary. It comes into existence and it unmanifests from existence. Whereas Bhagwan is eternal and ever existing. So their nature has an overlap, but their attribute of temporary versus permanent has no overlap. So in one sense, because this universe is a product of the Shakti of Bhagwan, and Shakti, this material world is also an energy of the Lord. So in that sense, it is like the Lord. Shakti, Shaktiman, Abheda. But as a cause and effect, they are also different. So they are same in some ways and they are different in some ways. Therefore, Narad Muni is using the word Ive Tara. Idam hi Vishwam, this universe, Bhagavan Ive Itara. It is almost same. Iva, almost. Itaro, but it is also different. It's almost similar, but it is different. Okay, is that clear? Any questions on this principle? Yeah, we have to see the divinity in the universe, but we should not equate the universe with the creator. Yeah, the universe is the effect and Bhagwan is the cause. So the cause and effect are distinct. Bhagwan is the cause of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. So the world is neither independent of God, right? Nor is it identical with the Lord. That will become pantheism. We are not saying that the universe is Lord. We are saying because it is a Shakti, it is same as Shaktiman. But yes, there is also a Bheda in that. So Bhagavan Eva, very beautiful phrase. This Jagat, Vishwam, has a likeliness of Bhagwan. That indicates dependence on Bhagwan. So there are two guardrails. Bhagwan Eva, to explain the universe, if somebody asks you what does Vaishnava Vedanta theology talk about, what does it say about the universe, you can say it is Bhagwan Iva. It has a likeness with Bhagwan in the nature of Satchidanand. It has a dependence on Bhagwan. In that sense, it is like Bhagwan. But very quickly, the word Itara is also added. Itara means it is not Bhagwan. The universe is not Bhagwan. Don't make the universe transcendental. Okay, so this is how we see that the effect, you study the effect and you can understand the cause. But it doesn't mean that this effect will exhaust the cause. That cause can have many more things coming out of it. And you are looking at only one. So this effect can help us identify the cause, which is Bhagwan, but this effect cannot allow us to exhaust the cause. Ki nahi ye universe hi Bhagwan. That's wrong. So universe is jada. It is anitya. It is dependent. Whereas Bhagwan is eternal Satchidanand by his own nature. Yeah. So when we hear statements in Vedanta such as Sarva Khalo Ido Brahma, that everything is Brahman. What does it mean? Exactly what we are discussing. That because it is an effect, it is also Brahman. It is not different from it. But we cannot make Bhagwan completely limited to this universe also. Okay, so our material universe, our reality is sacred because it depends upon Bhagwan. Yet, who do you worship? Do you worship the universe? No, worship belongs only to Bhagwan, not to the dead material universe. So even when we have, we do ecological um, restoration in Eco Village. So we are doing it looking at this creation as an energy of the Lord. We are not treating nature as God. We are seeing the world as a gift of the Lord, which we have to care for with responsibility. Yeah. While we recognize the source of it. So this is how we do our seva. Recognize the sacredness of the world and objects of this world and utilize them in the service of Bhagwan. We don't need to separate them. Okay, let's look at the purport. The universe. So Vyasdev is also saying, Narad Muni is also saying, Vyasdev, you already know this. Why? Because you are an avatar of the Lord, you are an Amsha. So you know all of this. Please present this. Yeah, please present the glories of Bhagavan and Bhakti. Okay. So for a pure devotee, the conception of Krishna is both personal and impersonal. Remember, we have discussed this. Both the personal and impersonal feature are together contained in the complete understanding of Bhagavan. So the impersonal cosmic universe is also Bhagavan because it is an emanation of the energy of Bhagavan. And Prabhupada gives a beautiful example like a tree is complete and the leaves and branches are its parts. So the leaves and branches are also the tree. Yeah. But the tree itself is neither the leaves nor the branches. So the effect can indicate the cause, but you cannot call the effect to be the same as the cause. You cannot look at the leaves and branches and say this is the tree. But you can look at the tree and say this contains the leaves and branches, or leaves and branches are emanating from it. So we should not limit Bhagwan by his creation. Nothing is apart from him. Sarva khalo ido Brahman. Sarva khalo idam Brahma. How do we understand that? Everything is emanating from Supreme Brahman. Nothing is separate from Brahman. So what is the likeness? The dependence. And partially the nature also. This is clear, I hope. So hands and legs are called the body. If I show my hand, you will say, this is my body. So hands and legs are called the body, but the body as a whole unit is neither the hands nor the legs. So you cannot mistake the whole for its parts. That's the error we are talking about. We've discussed this, you remember? That taking the part to be the whole, that is an error. Yeah. So if the part and parcels of the body are detached from the whole body, then you cannot call them that they are the body. So Prabhupada uses this example to explain that if civilization of the, or if the material nature you separate it from Bhagwan, then it is just like a detached hand or leg. They may appear like a hand or leg, but they have no efficiency. They are dead. So this civilization without God consciousness is basically a dead civilization. So Lord is naturally fully powerful. His supreme energies are always perfect and identical with him. This is Shakti, Shaktiman, Abheda. So the spiritual realm, Lord's spiritual form, they are all manifestations of the internal energy of the Lord. And this material universe, nature, our bodies, that is all a manifestation of the external energy of the Lord. So both are energies. One is superior, other is inferior. But in any case, neither energy is equal to or greater than the Lord because he is the energetic. In respect to his energy, he is always superior. He's the generator of those energies. And therefore, those energies are always under his control. Yeah, like an engineer who designs a power plant and supplies electricity to the whole city. So, who's the energetic? The engineer. And what is the energy? The electricity, which is, spread throughout the city. So, this is the way in which we should understand this creation. So we might think that, we can also we have created satellites, spaceships, but it doesn't mean that we humans can then next create a planet. That's not possible. We are never equal to the Lord. Even after attaining complete perfection, we will never be equal to the Lord. The proportion of the qualities might increase, but that will still never come close to those of Bhagavan. Only somebody who is diseased by Maya will claim that I am Bhagavan. So we should accept the supremacy of the Lord and agree to render loving service to Him. That's the lesson. For this, they have been created. Once you understand the cause of this creation, You come to the conclusion that I have been created to eternally serve Bhagwan, surrender to Bhagwan. That is the only business of the perfect human being. Very beautiful. Hmm. Yes, we'll move a little fast.
We can carry on. I'll reserve.
You can bring it up. We'll take it
Yeah,
towards.
so it was more like I got this beautiful recollection from the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata that at the time of strategizing the Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra was very keen to find out from the astrologers, because these days I find in the name of spirituality, a lot of people are going to turning to astrology a lot. So I just wanted to bring this anecdote that in Dhritarashtra's eagerness to control the outcomes of the war, the most learned astrologers were called, and they said that your sun, stars, and planetary movements are so powerful right now that no one can defeat him at this point. And then, after a few days into the war, he was called again because half of the army was, like down. So what happened? So he looked at the things and he said that I don't know who has done this, but the stars themselves and planets themselves have changed. So it is like when Bhagwan wills, even nature changes.
Yeah, those favorable or unfavorable situation arise according to the alignment of the planets. But Krishna is Sarva Loka Maheshwara. He controls all those lokas. So what are we talking about? That's why, bhakti is a direct practice. Okay, let's move to next verse. So Narad Muni continues to advise Vyasadeva that please, you know this, please glorify. Tvamatmanatmanam evehi amogadrik parasya pumsa paramatmana kalam ajam prajatam jagatah shivayatan mahanubhav abhyudayo adhignatam. Your goodness means Vyasdev, your goodness has perfect vision. You yourself can know the super soul personality of Godhead because you are present as the plenary portion of the Lord. So Vyasdev is an incarnation of Lord himself. Yeah. He's a Kala, a plenary part of the Lord. Although you are birthless, you have appeared on this earth for the well-being of all people. Please therefore describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, more vividly. So, Narad Muni is the guru of Vyasdev. So Prabhupada writes in this purport that Vyasdev doesn't require a guru, he's the guru of the whole world. But because he's playing the role of an acharya and the world will follow his example, he is accepting a guru just to set an example for all humanity for all time to come. Even Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were Bhagwan themselves. Still, when they appeared in our realm, they accepted spiritual masters, they accepted a guru. Yeah, they were already all knowing, Sarvagya. But it is to set an example, it is how to direct people. So Vyasdev is an incarnation of Lord, and his incarnation is for the purpose of creating this path of dharma, path of practice, how to come back to the Lord. Yeah. The fallen and forgetful souls are detached from the transcendental service of Bhagwan. We have become Krishna Vimukha. We have turned our attention away from Krishna and there is no spirit of seva. But when we remember our true nature, Sambandha Gyan, oh, I'm actually a part and parcel of Krishna. I'm a Nitya Krishna Das. That is our complete perfection. And that is the state of happiness for us. So Vedic literatures lead us to that understanding. They help us come to the right direction. So it is the duty of the fallen souls to take advantage of such literature and be freed from the bondage of material existence. So we need a guru. Even though you might say, I know bhakti, why do I need a guru? That is not how it works. Even if we know the process of bhakti, we need a guru who will teach us what to do at what point according to our conditioning. We, through our own conditioned mind filled with ahankar, the influence of gunas, we cannot actually even understand our situation objectively. It's clouded, it's contaminated by ego. So, Guru is one who can guide you perfectly. So, Vyasdev is himself setting an example that yes, we need a Guru. Although he is an empowered uh, portion of the Lord. Yeah. So, as Narad Muni saying, you are an empowered portion of the Lord. You are a Kala of Paramatma. That means you have a huge responsibility of Jagata Shivaya. Welfare of the world is on your shoulders. So you should know that you are empowered portion of the Lord. You are unborn. And therefore, you have to glorify Bhakti and Bhagwan for the welfare of the whole world. Jagata Shivaya. Describe more fully Adhigai Ganyatam. Yes, I know you have mentioned it in your previous compositions, but now do it fully. What? Maha Anubhava means referring to Bhagwan. Abhyudaya, the Leela of Bhagwan. So Krishna Leela ko abhiganyatam. Describe it most vividly. So just glorify Krishna, Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Leela vividly, more vividly. That is the solution. Ganyatam, fully, adhikam. And they are the auspicious. Abhyudaya means one which can protect you, or what is auspicious. So the glories of the mighty Lord are abhyudaya, they are for our welfare and auspiciousness. So please glorify the pastimes of the Lord. That is the message. Verse 22. Idam hipumsam tapasa shrutasya va swa ishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoho avinchyuto ratha kavibhir nirupito yad uttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Gunanuvarnanam. This is the conclusion. Uttama shloka. Bhagwan, who is glorified in the choicest poetry, is Uttama shloka. The best of the verses are reserved for his glorification. So, of that Uttama shloka, you should do Guna Anuvarnanam. The Guna. In verse 21, it was Leela. That's why we come to the conclusion of Bhakti is to constantly practice hearing, chanting, remembering the Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Leela of Bhagwan. That has a purifying effect. So, who has ascertained this? Nirupitaha, the Kavibhihi, the learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifices, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord who is defined in choice poetry. So, advancement of knowledge should lead us to do yajna, swadhyaya, dana. All of this, tapasya, yajna, swadhyaya, this is the culmination of knowledge. But by doing this, whatever is obtainable by bhakti also. Yeah, there is another verse in Bhagavatam, yat karma bhir yat tapasa. The result of all these non-devotional activities like karma, tapasya, yajna, swadhyaya, brahmacharya, the result of all these non-devotional activities can be obtained by bhakti. But these other processes cannot give the result of bhakti. In fact, to give the result of that own process, they are dependent on bhakti. So practicing tapasya will give you the result of tapasya alone. And even to give that result of tapasya, tapasya is dependent on bhakti of Bhagwan. So there will be some element of bhakti in all paths. In karma, in jnana, in yoga, there has to be an element of bhakti because that element, that presence of that element of bhakti is going to give the result of that respective path. So then, why don't we perform devotional activities where we get the result of all of these other paths and processes and also the result of bhakti which cannot be had by any other path? Therefore, glorify bhakti. Why do you want to glorify dharma and karma? Yeah. The whole purpose of all scriptural rules and regulations, smartavya satatam Vishnu, vismartavyam न जाति चित. जितने विधि और निषेध दिए गए हैं शास्त्रों में, ये करो, ये मत करो. Yeah, the regulations and the prohibitions. What is the goal of all of that? To always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Vismar na jatu chit. So, if that is the goal, why do you want to explain other rules and regulations? Just directly glorify bhakti. Don't glorify other independent processes, separate processes, or karma and jnana. Yeah. Some devotees might want to practice some part of dharma. Somebody might want to get the results of some swadhyay or some tapasya. You should tell them that by practicing bhakti, you will get the result of those lower dharmas also. That is the mode in which we are seeing this shlok. भक्ति करने से बाकी सब के फल भी प्राप्त हो जाएंगे, पर भक्ति का फल और किसी विधि से प्राप्त नहीं हो सकता. So you have done so much glorification about karma and dharma. Now glorify bhakti. Hari Katha and Hari Guna. By bhakti, only one can get full success. That's the spirit of verse 22. So, description of the qualities of Uttama Shloka. That is the final conclusion. That there are so many diverse disciplines. Let us gather it into one test. What is the result that does not fall away? Yeah, what is temporary? Any punya, prestige in this world, even purity or intellectual ability, they are all vulnerable to time and ego. Please remember this. So all these processes of studying scriptures, reciting mantra, charity, yajna, they will lead to fruits which are temporary. क्या ऐसा कोई फल है जो नित्य है? That is the question we should ask. So, bhakti can grant these subordinate fruits if needed, while it will also give the final eternal fruit. So, that is the power of the practice of bhakti. What happens when a practitioner becomes mature? They become eager to speak, hear, and live in relation to the qualities of the Lord. So when a spiritualist reaches the point of their love for the Lord, that means all of their previous spiritual practice have given the intended fruit. वो सफल हुए, जो भी आपने पहले किया, स्वाध्याय, तपस्या, दान, धर्म. If it has brought you to develop a taste for Krishna, then they have all been successful. Vichyutah arthaha. That gain which cannot be taken away. That is what bhakti can give. So one becomes successful by bhakti after giving up all those dharma. That is what this verse is saying. This verse which we just discussed, yat karmabhir, yat tapasa jnana vairagyascha yat yogena dana dharmena shreyobhir itarair api sarvam mad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labhyate anjasa. Anjasa means immediately they can get, my devotees can get the result of all of these practices. Swarga pavargam mad dhama kathanchit yadi vanchati. In fact, they can get Swarga. My devotees can get Swarga, Moksha, or they can even get residence in my abode, Madhama. They obtain it easily. Yad Vanchati, if they so desire. But we know the devotee wouldn't desire that. A devotee would always desire loving service to the Lord. That is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, 20th chapter, verses 32 and 33. Very important. So you can also go back and look into it. So if the goal of all processes is to lead us to remember, always remember Vishnu, Smartavya Satatam Vishnuhur. So then means if you are able to remember Vishnu always by the path of direct bhakti, then all those dharmas become unnecessary. Just as karma was unnecessary because bhakti doesn't require purification. So when we say we can give up karma, we can give up lower dharmas, we are not saying it out of a sense of superiority or self, preposterousness, basically, that because I am recommending bhakti, therefore it is the best. We are seeing its function of karma, function of jnana, function of bhakti, function of these other lower dharmas. Then we are coming to the conclusion, how does it functionally work? That is the point, that those dharmas are unnecessary because bhakti gives you its fruit. Bhakti doesn't require purification. So why would you need to do anything else? Chanting the Lord's name is the only process required. I'll just put my charger. Yeah. So, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, we have discussed that, we discuss advancement of society means you discuss philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology. Basically, jnana. By culture of knowledge, the human society can attain perfection. Buddhi dattayor. So all of this is development of society by the means of culture of knowledge. But it culminates in the realization of the Supreme Being Vishnu. So the conclusion of the culture of Vidya, which is considered development of civilization, the conclusion is realizing that Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Shrutis directs that those who are actually advanced in learning should aspire for the service of Lord Vishnu. Aapko gyan ka culture, if you want to, go deeper into the culture of Vidya, if that is the marker of advancement of civilization, then you should aspire for seva of Vishnu. But as we discussed, we are bewildered by the external beauty of Vishnu Maya, and we do not understand that the culmination of jnana is self-realization. We are distracted towards sense gratification. Vishnu Maya traps us and makes us use our knowledge for sense enjoyment. Yeah, you look at all the scientific advancements we have made. How much is it for development of the soul, development of consciousness, becoming a better person? And how much is it for bodily comfort and indulgence? Science is an instrument. Where are we applying it is the question. Yeah, so all the paraphernalia of the cosmic universe are emanations of the Lord. Yeah, because from the Lord out of his different energies, everything is an emanation of the Lord, the spiritual and the material worlds. Because the Lord has set in motion by his inconceivable energy the actions and reactions of the created manifestation. by glancing upon Jada Prakriti, he breathes life into it and activates it, without which Prakriti was just inert. So everything is coming from him, and everything is also resting on him, and it also, after annihilation, pralay, it also merges back into him. So they are not different from him, but at the same time, the Lord is always different from them. Bhagavan Eva and Ivetara. So when you apply knowledge in the service of Bhagwan, then the process becomes perfect. Yeah. And Bhagwan's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela are not different from him. So all branches of knowledge should be wholly and solely applied in the service of Bhagwan. So poetry, philosophy, art, everything should be offered and directed towards Bhagwan. That is their perfection. Yeah. Valmiki was a great poet, and similarly, Vyasdev is a great writer. Both of them, because they absolutely engaged themselves in delineating the transcendental activities of the Lord. Uttama Shloka, Abhyudaya, Leelaya. They describe the glories, the qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. What happened as a result? Mhm. And by doing so, they have become immortal. Forever, their literatures are being read. So everything should be applied for the service of the Lord. Science, philosophy, yeah, science should be engaged to establish the glory of the Lord. In fact, that is how science originated. The early scientists were also monks. All of the study which and the universities, the earliest universities in the West, they were all monasteries. If you will want to look up at their history, you can. Because science was seen as a way to glorify Bhagwan. And look at this beautiful creation. Everything is such perfect order, everything is so beautiful. So it started with that, but then it separated itself from Bhagwan. There is no use presenting dry speculative theories for sense gratification. So we can utilize this different forms of knowledge, either in understanding and glorifying the divine or directing it towards sense gratification to establish the glory of the Lord. That is the best utility of knowledge. So a scientist should endeavor to prove the existence of the Lord on a scientific basis. A philosopher should attempt to establish the supreme truth as a sentient and all-powerful being. Then that is the perfection of their science and philosophy. And similarly, all other branches of knowledge should always be engaged in the service of the Lord. And does it look compelling? Does it look interesting? We should also think how we can apply our vocation as much as we can to glorify Bhagwan. Yeah. All knowledge not engaged in the service of the Lord is but nescience. It's avidya only. And all similar activities engaged in the service of the Lord are all factually Hari Kirtan. So if a philosopher is presenting, establishing God as a sentient and all powerful being, that is Hari Kirtan. If a scientist is proving the existence of God on a scientific basis, their science also becomes Harikatha or glorification of the Lord. You see how broad the definition is. So, can we offer our vocation as Harikatha? Can we make our profession into Harikatha? So, this is very beautiful. So, after describing the importance of bhakti, the glories of Bhagwan, and then recommending Vyasdev to please you directly and continuously glorify Bhagwan and bhakti. Then now Narad Muni provides an example to explain the principle that he has presented. He's presenting his own case study. Yeah. So, yes. Let's look at so the next section starts the story of Narad Muni's life. Aham putratit bhave bhavam mune dasyastukas yaschana vedavadinam nirupito balaka eva yoginam shushushane pravrishi nirvivikshatam. O Vyasdev, O Muni, in my past life, in the last millennium, I was born as the son of a certain maidservant engaged in the service of Brahmanas who were following the principles of Vedanta. Yeah. Shushrusshane. She was serving the Vedavadina, the Vedantins. When they were living together during the 4 months of the rainy season, I was engaged in their personal service. Oh, very beautiful discussion he's giving. His own example to establish the fact of the superiority and the potency of Shuddha Bhakti. Why is he sharing his story? Why does a devotee share their story? Not for presenting themselves as important, but to show the power of Bhakti. That look at my life, the process of Shuddha Bhakti completely transformed me. It is so powerful. It is so perfect. In that spirit, Narad Muni is sharing his life journey. So, how does bhakti begin? That's the question. So, he's recounting his own life when he was a young servant, young son of a maid servant. And when those sages, Vedavadina, the Vedantists, the Bhakti Vedantists, they were in their village, his mother was serving them. And she engaged him in their service. So, he's going to demonstrate how bhakti is caused. That is the question here. Yeah.
Prabhu, this Vedantis, you said Bhakti Vedantis. So you have two kinds of Vedantis. Is it impersonal Vedantis and Bhakti Vedantis?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And we see further verses. These Vedantins are Bhakti Vedantins because they were going to bless Narad Muni with Bhakti. So Advaita cannot bless someone with pure Bhakti. So there are two types of Vedantists. One is Advaita Vedanta and the other is Vaishnava Vedanta. Vaishnava Vedanta is acknowledging Bhagwan, basically. And Advaita Vedanta is identifying with Bhagwan. So,
So it's only one
Advaita,
Vedanta which is interpreted differently. One
yes,
Vedanta which interpreted differently.
correct. Advaita Vedanta identifies with Bhagwan and Vaishnava Vedanta surrenders to Bhagwan. That's the difference. So, then this 4 month of Chaturmasya, how he got their association, what became the cause of bhakti. Yeah, because you just saw that, you can do all the austerity, but will it lead to bhakti? That is the question. So, how is bhakti obtained? How is bhakti um, transmitted?
I had a question. So Brahma and Vyas both were birthless, but Narad Muni went through the cycle of birth and death. He's talking about a
I mean,
previous lifetime.
yes, yes. This is before he became the Narad Muni he is today. Okay, that is his previous. He's in that, if we have to see in the ultimate sense, he is a son of Brahmaji. The Brahmaji has a set of direct sons, one of whom is Narad Muni. But he's now describing his life journey. How did he reach that position? Okay, so the point is, Narad Muni was not in a very favorable atmosphere. It was not that his birth was prestigious or he had some great qualification. There is nothing that was heredity or education or privilege. Who was he? He was the son of very insignificant parentage. He was not properly educated. He's a balaka. Still, because his complete energy was engaged in service of the Lord, he became an immortal sage. Such is the powerful action of devotional service. Okay, so again, bhakti requires no prior qualification, no purity, no knowledge, no high birth. So we are the marginal energy of the Lord, the jivas. We are meant to serve the Lord. Yeah, we should take shelter of the internal energy of the Lord. When we don't do that, we take shelter of the external energy of the Lord. We are under the spell of Maya. And how can the spell of Maya be removed? When again your energy, your attention is redirected towards Bhagwan and seva of Bhagwan, not in bhoga for one's own senses. So from the personal example of Sri Narad Muni, it is clear that the service of the Lord begins with the service of the Lord's bona fide servants. So if these Vedantins are servants of the Lord, then definitely they are Bhakti Vedantins. So Lord in fact says that serving my devotees is greater than serving me personally. Aradhanam, worshipping my devotees is greater than my tadiya, worshipping my servants is greater than directly worshipping me. So one should therefore choose a bona fide servant of the Lord and constantly engage in his service. So service to Bhagwan begins with service to Bhakta, a bona fide Bhakta. And when we engage in their service, that spiritual master becomes the transparent medium by which one can visualize the Lord. Otherwise, the Lord is beyond our material senses. Okay. So by service to Guru, the Lord consents to reveal himself in proportion to the service rendered. Yatha deve tatha, yes, tatha Guru. So one who has unflinching faith in Guru and Bhagwan, only to such a person the imports of the Vedas are revealed. Yatha deve parabhakti, tatha deve tasya hi katitho. So that verse is saying that is required for revelation. Unflinching faith in Guru and Krishna. So basically, devotees of the Lord and service to those devotees, their importance is being highlighted in this verse. And we have to utilize our human energy in service of the Lord. That is the path of salvation. The whole cosmic creation becomes at once identical with the Lord as soon as service in relation with the Lord is rendered under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The whole world becomes Vaikuntha if you are properly engaged in service under the direction of a guru. Then nothing is Maya. Everything is Krishna's, and therefore everything is divine and beautiful. The expert spiritual master knows the art of utilizing everything to glorify the Lord, Yukta Vairagya. And therefore, under his guidance, the whole world can be turned into a spiritual abode by the divine grace of the Lord's servant. So we don't need to wait to go back to the spiritual realm. If we have the shelter and guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, we can experience that spiritual realm right here. Yeah. So what are the parameters? Guidance of the Guru and divine grace of the Lord's servant. So two variables have been presented. grace of devotees and guidance of Guru. This is the cause of bhakti. You remember we have discussed previously. What is the cause? Bhakti is ahituki. It is completely independent. It's your dritchaya. Independent. That is what is the cause of Shuddha Bhakti. There is no cause. You can be as learned as you want or as austere as you want. But those things cannot lead to bhakti. Now, in fact, even Lord doesn't have control on how someone can get bhakti. That is how bhakti is causeless. It doesn't have a cause that you do this and then you will get bhakti. No. Bhakti is unconditional. It is causeless. Ahituki. So then what is the only cause of Shuddha Bhakti? Yes?
Another devotee. Only another.
Yes. Kripa. Bhagavad Kripa and Bhakta Kripa. So Bhakta Kripa is also not in the control of the Lord. The Lord cannot stop a devotee from giving mercy to someone. So because the Lord will not interfere in the use of free will. And the Lord doesn't himself want to directly give someone bhakti because that would interfere in the free will of the jiva. And oh, Lord is himself giving, he's not letting me exercise my full free will. So therefore the Lord also doesn't do. And he also doesn't interfere when his devotees want to distribute mercy. So we come down to kripa. The mercy of devotees is the only cause of bhakti. Okay. Let's read further. Yeah. 1 second. So yeah, he has no privilege or no prestigious birth. He's just a simple son of a maidservant. Still, he received bhakti by the grace of those Bhakti Vedantins. How did he receive it? Yeah, we'll see from the following verses. He's not going to have one magical encounter. That one of those sages puts their hand on his head and then that energy, electricity transforms him. That is not how it happens. It has to be practiced by daily seva, shravanam, chintanam. So there is a process. People think I just need the blessings of a sadhu. They'll bless you, but it is you who have to use your buddhi. In Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna is saying, buddhi use karo और अपने conditionings को overpower करो. So there is a practice. It is not, of course, see, the value of blessings is there. But if someone thinks that just that touch will make me spiritual, without practicing, having a regular daily practice, that's not the way. So yes, there can be mercy, but it requires you to have a daily environment of seva, shravanam, kirtanam. So when we do seva, we should not underestimate the power. Just simply washing dishes in the temple or assisting some teachers, we are receiving impressions that will shape our life. So therefore, we should take humble service very seriously. Yeah, it is very powerful and meaningful. So here, there is no cause for pure bhakti other than the fortunate mercy of the devotees. Aapka bhagya khul gaya that you had a mercy of the devotees. Your life path crossed with that of a devotee, and the nature of a devotee is to be compassionate, to share the mercy of the Lord with everyone. So Narad Muni is illustrating that in the previous kalpa, in a previous day of Brahma, so Narad Muni is a divine being. That's how you can remember his birth in a previous kalpa, not the previous life, but in a previous day of Brahma. So he was serving, he was engaged, Nirupitaha. in serving those persons who had bhakti yoga. Yeah, who were just staying there in their village during the rainy season. So, how are they Bhakti Vedantas? We will understand from the 26th verse that Narad Muni could hear them describe the attractive activities of Lord Krishna. Tatra Tatranvaham Krishna Katha Pragayantam. तो कौन कृष्ण कथा गाएंगे? भक्ति गाएंगे ना? So they are Bhakti Vedantists. And thus listening attentively, Narad Muni's taste for hearing Harikatha increased at every step. Okay, so let's look at the next verse. We can take a couple of verses. ते मयि अपेक्ता खिलचा पले अर्भके दान्त धृत क्रीडाङ्के अनुवर्तिनी चक्रुकृपां यद्यपि तुल्यदर्शनाः शुश्रूषमाणे मुनयोऽल्पभाषिणी. So Narad Muni is telling his life story. What is the nature of these Bhakti Vedantists? That they are impartial by nature. Again, we discussed. It is causeless. They don't have any favoritism. Tulya Darshana. They see everyone equally. Although they were impartial by nature, those followers of Vedanta blessed me with their causeless mercy. Kripam. Chakru Kripam. They bestowed me with causeless mercy. As far as I am concerned, I was self-controlled. Danta, a young boy, self with controlled senses. I had no attachment for sports. A Dhrita Kridanke, without being accustomed to sporting habits, because in our childhood we are like so busy and attached to frivolous sporting activities. Narad Muni was sober from the start. Even though I was a boy, Arbaka, I was just a boy. In addition, I was not naughty. And I did not speak more than required. अल्पभाषिणी, जितनी जरूरत है उतना ही मुंह खोलना. So I was अल्पभाषिणी, I was not naughty. So do you mean that this cordial behavior and character of Narad Muni attracted the mercy of the Vedantists, Bhakti Vedantists? What do you think? No. Then good behavior will become the cause of bhakti. So there is no cause of bhakti. That is what we are trying to establish again and again. So the sages were Samadarshi. So it looks like Narad Muni is listing a set of virtues which became the cause of his mercy. But Acharya say no. What happens is first kripa that they gave to Narad Muni is unconditional, without bothering about the background of Narad Muni, an uneducated child of a maidservant. Can there be a greater disqualification? Without bothering for the background of Narad Muni, the Bhakti Vedantists gave him kripa. That is the first instance of them giving kripa, which is ahetuki. Then he developed those virtues, and then those virtues extracted further kripa a second time. But does it mean that the second time he received kripa was because of his virtues? No. Because how did those virtues come to him in the first place? Because of the first time he received kripa. So therefore, both the first and second instance of Narad Muni receiving kripa is causeless and unconditional. It doesn't depend on good qualities also. Is this clear? First, they gave him mercy, not considering his background. Because of their mercy, he developed those qualities. And because he developed those qualities, he attracted greater mercy the second time. And in the second case, Those qualities attracted mercy, but those qualities were born from the mercy given in the first instance. So then everything comes back to unconditional mercy of devotees. This is also how we should live our lives. We should serve in such a way that we please devotees. We attract blessings. When their hearts are pleased, automatically blessings flow from the hearts of devotees. You don't have to get a physical, expression of their blessing. I bless you. You please them, you serve them. If they are pleased, they'll automatically bless you. That is mercy. And when you receive mercy, you will get taste, you will develop virtues, and then you will get more mercy. That is the reinforcing cycle that we should practice as bhaktas.
So
So
Prabhu,
bhakti is not, yes,
uh, then that mercy becomes conditional, right? Because they are pleased with your thing,
yeah,
service. So it
yeah.
becomes conditional.
That's
So how do we say that bhakti is unconditional there? Then anyone and everyone can be worthy of. They can be eligible for bhakti, even if they are
correct,
doing wrong things.
correct. Yes, so that's what we discussed. The further instances of receiving mercy, the second instance of Narad Muni receiving mercy for his good qualities, that also comes. How did he develop those good qualities? Because of receiving mercy of the devotees in the first place. So those good qualities are also a result of mercy only. Therefore, we can say that the mercy that they receive in second and further situations is also causeless because it is dependent on something which is caused by kripa only. So originally, everything has to start with kripa. And yes, anyone can receive kripa. Somebody who is not Valmiki received kripa. He was a hunter. Mrigari received kripa. Jagai Madhai received kripa. That is the whole point. Bhakti does not require prior purification. Anyone is qualified for bhakti. They have to become a recipient of the kripa of bhakta and they have to have shraddha in bhakti. There is shraddha. That's it. Yeah. Does it clear everything? Any other thoughts or doubts?
I had one observation from the real world, being in Kali Yuga, that
Mm-hmm.
so I really appreciate the instruction about the category of devotees. I feel that the
Mm.
Uttam Adhikaris definitely give a really good and beautiful blessing. And
Right.
sometimes at neophytes and the medium level, there are still aspects of envy and maybe a little bit of lack of grace, which every one of us is anyways on that journey towards it. So I just feel like qualifying this a little bit, that yeah, any
Mm.
devil is not equal to the other.
Of course, of course. We are talking of the Bhakti Vedantins here. They are themselves pure devotees of the Lord. So yes, there is a perfection. There are those who are perfected and there's those who are practicing. And even those who are practicing, they are merciful, but yeah, they are still in the process of purification. So, Uttam Adhikari can give mercy, even a Madhyam Adhikari can give mercy. In fact, an Uttam Adhikari cannot discriminate. They'll say, what is the need to even differentiate between devotees and non-devotees? Everyone is Krishna's child. So, to teach or to share, you have to come from the level of Uttama to Madhyama. Because at the level of Madhyama, you can at least make the distinction of Kripa, Maitri, Prem, Upeksha. There are categories in the world. There's Bhagwan, there are devotees, they are favorable and innocent, and there are antagonistic people, inimical people. So I'm only when you can categorize, then you can see who deserves, who can you give mercy. You cannot give it. You make friendship with devotees, you are merciful to the innocent, and you keep distance from the inimical. So Madhyama also gives kripa. Kanishta is
Also
more,
mention something of Bhagavad Kripa. What does that mean? Is that
Bhagavad
grace,
Kripa is
Krishna's grace?
it's God's grace and devotee's grace. So first, devotee's grace comes and God's grace follows, and they are intertwined. We're just saying that God also doesn't interfere in who a devotee wants to give that grace to. God says, okay, you have me in your heart. Whoever you want to give me to, you can, because you possess me. That's the spirit. Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. So we need grip of both Guru and Krishna, Bhakta and Bhagwan both. But here, because we are studying the cause of bhakti, we are, pinpointing further that it is kripa of devotees which gives bhakti. Okay.
There's another tendency in us, a human failing, is that we appreciate God's grace very much. We forget to appreciate the devotee. So
Oh yes, very true,
I
very true.
I'm just thinking of all of the true devotees that must have blessed without my even knowing or acknowledging or being grateful, and I'm feeling very guilty right now.
Oh, no, you can be grateful. Why should you be guilty? Be grateful and serve them and please them. That's the process. Yeah. So we are seeing that Narad Muni has received this grace. And grace, the principle is grace precedes qualification. Grace, in fact, creates the qualification through which deeper grace can be received. So grace doesn't require qualification. Grace, in fact, creates qualification for further grace. So, this can be seen, as universal. It's not just about gurus. In a classroom, a good teacher will invest, in every student. They'll offer their genuine attention before somebody proves their performance. Yeah. So if somebody is sincere, they are receiving the attention of the teacher. They should respond with sincerity, attentiveness. And that opportunity will become transformative when gratitude comes in our heart. So the devotees are like everyone's well-wisher. But then who receives it well, that is also important. Yeah. So we have to definitely rely on their grace. But once we receive it, we should then qualify ourselves for further grace. That's the point. Okay, should we stop? Yeah, let's stop here for now. We'll continue next time. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.